Here in Hollywood, where image is everything, Raquel's stunning image made her a sensation at age 24. She hailed from just down the coast in San Diego, but she was considered by some as a goddess descended from Mount Olympus. This particular photo launched her into international stardom, and these well-published images helped keep her there. But they also made it hard for her later to change the public's perception, a frustrating situation for a very talented actress who, for a large part of her career, was trapped inside a beautiful facade that she helped create.
God bless America.
It was Raquel Welch's exotic beauty that first brought her fame.
I had never seen anyone that beautiful in my life.
But it was her talent and determination that made her a superstar.
Raquel is, to some extent, a superwoman. Bigger than life, self-reliant, and dramatically in contrast to the more vulnerable leading ladies from the 30s and 40s.
She broke the stereotype of the vulnerable sex goddess.
She occupies one of the major niches in the Hollywood pantheon of the 20th century.
But this versatile and award-winning actress has proved that she has much more to offer than mere beauty.
For anybody who is ever called a sex symbol, there's always a massive misconception. It isn't that they've gotten it so much wrong, it's just that they know only a sliver of who you are.
The year was 1940. The New York World's Fair was igniting the public's imagination. Network television was making its debut, and Americans were swing dancing to the tunes of Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman. And on September 5th in Chicago, Illinois, Jo Raquel Tejada was born. Her ambitious Bolivian-born father, Armand, had come to America in search of opportunity and found success as an aerospace engineer at Consolidated Aircraft Corporation. In 1937, he married Josephine Sarah Hall, who could trace her ancestry back to the Mayflower.
My mother comes from a very well-educated family. She was very straight-laced. My father had a Latin influence, which is very passionate, very temperamental, very highly emotional.
When the country was plunged into World War II, Raquel's father was transferred to San Diego, California, a scenic beach community about 100 miles south of Hollywood, an area teeming with naval bases and defense plants. By 1943, Raquel had been joined by a brother James and a sister Gail. But her parents' marriage was troubled, and Armand's fiery temper and intimidating presence made for an uneasy household.
He was a person that everybody wanted to please. Very, very strict, very exacting in every way. We were all sort of walking on eggs all the time for fear that we wouldn't live up to whatever it was that he was trying to prove, and nobody knew what that was.
It's soothing to your nerves to have curves with your hors d'oeuvres. Bonjour.
Raquel found escape from the tensions at home at the local movie theater.
When I went to movies as a child, it was like a transcendental experience. I thought, how great to be able to slip away from all of the kind of mundane and scary things that happen in real life and go into a world where you can really invent another reality.
We'll chase all your cares away, but please be polite to our waiters.
But it was The Red Shoes, a film about a ballerina who literally dances herself to death, that made little Raquel believe she could create her own reality.
When I saw Morris Shear in The Red Shoes, you know, flying through the air and all of this passion and all of this perfection and all of this amazing sort of expression of your feelings, you know, I thought, this is it, you know, I have to be a dancer.
Raquel begged to be enrolled in ballet classes, and over the next few years, she worked hard to acquire a dancer's grace and poise. But in 1954, when the 14-year-old entered San Diego's La Jolla High School, she learned to dance to a different rhythm. The extroverted Raquel became a straight-A student and popular cheerleader. But at the age of 15, she blossomed into a voluptuous beauty and her life took an unexpected turn. Raquel's home economics teacher entered her in a beauty contest, and the flabbergasted student beat out 150 girls to win Miss Photogenic. The stunning teen went on to win a succession of crowns, including Miss San Diego, Miss Contour, Miss La Jolla, and Maid of California. But her greatest pleasure came from performing in the drama club's theatrical productions, and the high school senior began dreaming of a glamorous future as an actress. But that wasn't all Raquel was dreaming of. She had fallen head over heels in love with a handsome rebel named James Wesley Welch.
I took one look at Jim the first day that I saw him at school, leaning up against the administration building, sort of James Dean style, and I went, that's for me. He and I forever.
But while Raquel and James quickly became inseparable, her own parents' turbulent marriage was unraveling. And as violence in the Tejada household escalated, Raquel felt she could no longer remain silent.
Because my mother was very compliant, and I felt that sometimes my father was very abusive with her. I felt at one point, that I had to take a stand. I confronted my father and told him he'd better stop. And I actually picked up a poker from the fireplace, and stood my ground in front of him and said, don't ever do that again. I was protecting everybody. I think he was absolutely stunned. He just stood there, and I couldn't believe that because I was really scared.
Raquel's parents' volatile marriage finally ended in divorce, and with newfound strength and independence, the 18-year-old looked toward the future. In 1958, she entered San Diego State College with a prestigious theater arts scholarship. But Raquel remained devoted to her high school sweetheart, James Welch. The teenagers were married in Las Vegas on May 8, 1959, and within the year, they became the parents of a son, Damon. Determined not to abandon her show business aspirations, the new mother won a part-time job as the weather girl on a local morning program called Sun Up, and earned extra money modeling in regional department stores. But the demands of her burgeoning career, family life, and studies were taking their toll. After only 2 semesters, Raquel was forced to drop out of college. And by the time she gave birth to a daughter, Tani, on December 26, 1961, Raquel's 2-year marriage was crumbling. Realizing she and her husband had little in common, Raquel filed for divorce. At the age of 23, the single mother decided it was time to take her shot at stardom. With her children in tow, she set out for Hollywood with only $200 to her name. Settling in a $70 a month apartment, Raquel left her toddlers with a babysitter each morning before making the rounds of talent agencies by bus and on foot.
I'd have this huge guilt gnawing at me because I'd think, oh, I hope the babysitter's doing the right thing, and boy, I hope I get a break soon because I don't want to live in this lousy apartment. Food money was $10 a week, and I had to budget it all out between tuna fish, casserole, and ground round for 39 cents a pound, and I had it all worked out.
Raquel was relieved when she finally landed a job as a fitting model in the Los Angeles garment district. But a chance meeting at a coffee shop on Sunset Boulevard united the ambitious young actress with an aspiring Hollywood publicist named Patrick Curtis. Bowled over by Raquel's exceptional beauty and single-minded determination, Curtis offered to become her full-time manager. In 1964, he helped her land a job as the billboard girl on ABC's popular weekly variety show, The Hollywood Palace.
I remember Raquel's effect on the American psyche when she walked across the stage on the Hollywood Palace with a card in her hand. It was staggering. When she came on stage, you didn't look at anybody else.
Raquel's powerful presence earned her an invitation to Hollywood's annual Deb Star Ball, a televised showcase for new talent where she was introduced to casting directors and producers, including 20th Century Fox's Saul David.
I was then engaged in casting Our Man Flint, which was one of those pictures that had a bevy of pretty girls in it. And here came Raquel, and it was really quite a sight.
Saul David was so impressed with the striking ingenue that he immediately invited her to the Fox lot to screen test for the upcoming James Coburn film, Our Man Flint.
She showed up at the studio. Everybody told me that she had pulled in a VW which barely made it. So I gather she was very poor. And she was direct and she was forthright, a little nervous, but she knew what she wanted.
For the screen test, Raquel eagerly underwent numerous wardrobe and makeup sessions. But to her dismay, before she could be cast, the studio put the film on hold. However, when Fox production chief Richard Zanuck found out that United Artists producer Albert Broccoli wanted Raquel as his next Bond girl, Zanuck swiftly moved in and put her under contract.
The result of that was she was engaged on a deal for pictures, like a real grown-up actress, starting at respectable numbers with commas in them.
In 1965, 20th Century Fox wasted no time promoting their promising new starlet.
Ballerina, beauty contest winner, fashion model, stock, television, and film actress are just some of the careers that this young lady has already crowded into her 22 years of living. Raquel stands 5 foot 6 inches, weighs 118 pounds. Measurements, 37, 22 and a half, 35 and a half. Yes, she's quite an eyeful, and one of the most exciting young ladies in Hollywood today. Miss Raquel Welch, our Hollywood close-up.
The studio's gambit paid off. Raquel was now the talk of the town. And at 24, she was about to set forth on a voyage more fantastic than any movie could ever be.
You are listening to the sound of a completely new screen experience, a startling new kind of excitement. As 20th Century Fox plunges you into the most incredible adventure that man could ever achieve.
In 1965, 24-year-old Raquel Welch was cast as a surgeon's assistant in Fantastic Voyage, a big-budget science fiction spectacular starring Stephen Boyd and Arthur Kennedy.
We're going to see things no one has ever seen before. Not just something under a microscope.
The film concerned a miniaturized medical team injected into the bloodstream of a dying scientist.
The most famous story is the business of Raquel and the antibodies.
They're tightening. I can't breathe.
There was one antibody which affixed itself firmly and passionately to one of her breasts. Now, I hear all these 3 or 4 guys clustered around her tearing these things off her body, and people were sort of shying away from it until finally Arthur Kennedy sort of averted his head and grabbed it like that, and everybody on the set applauded.
Fantastic Voyage was a hit, and so was Raquel. Capitalizing on her statuesque beauty, Fox studio head Richard Zanuck immediately cast the starlet in 1 million years B.C.
Introducing the fabulous Raquel Welch, the sensational star discovery of this or any other year in 1 million years B.C. See her as Loana the Fair One, who deserted her tribe and risked her life to follow Tumac of the Rock People.
When I would talk to the director, he'd say, "Oh, don't think." I'd say, "I had this idea that maybe, Luana could," and he'd go, "Luana, could you just not think and not have any ideas? You see that rock over there? You run from rock A to rock B. When you get in the middle, pretend there's a giant turtle coming over the hill. You go, ah!"
See the fascinating, strange, and fearful creatures who roamed and ruled the earth 1 million years B.C.
But it was a production still of Raquel in a prehistoric bikini that launched the young actress into the stratosphere of international stardom.
From the very beginning, off of one photograph, please, one photograph, she was a famous, famous person.
I do think that there are images, both in film and still, that have that kind of magic impact on us. And it freezes a particular moment, a magic moment, that are a part of our pop culture history and have had just a tremendous impact on us and tremendous impact on the people at the time. And it runs the gamut from Betty Grable's pinup to the Raquel Welch poster.
1 million years BC caused a worldwide sensation, and the New York Times proclaimed Raquel a marvelous, breathing monument to womankind.
In the second half of the 1960s, something very dramatic was happening to society and therefore to films. This was a time of tremendous pop culture and social change. We had the sexual revolution going on. And women were redefining themselves in a lot of different kinds of ways, and I think that Raquel was one of those redefinitions. She represented one of the icons in that time frame, and I think it had to do with her strength.
In 1966, the actress moved to Europe with boyfriend Patrick Curtis and her children to star in a series of popular films that made the most of her obvious physical assets.
The things that are coming to you in the beginning of your career, where basically you're standing around looking good. So you better look really good. Otherwise, there's no tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be over.
But with an increasingly demanding schedule, Raquel struggled to make what little time she had with her children count.
I always got the sense that my mom was deeply committed to us. She comes in and sits on your bed at night and talks to you about what happened at the end of the day and sees how you're doing. I think that was very grounding for her.
On the other hand, I wasn't with them when I was working 6-7 days a week. So I think there was a lot of disappointment about where's Mommy and what's going on. I regretted all of that, and I also felt quite guilty about it all the time.
On February 14th, 1967, Raquel and Patrick Curtis planned a private wedding at the Paris City Hall, but were descended upon by hordes of paparazzi vying for photographs and gossip. Never before had there been so much interest in Raquel's private life, and amidst a media storm of publicity, the surprised public learned the sex symbol was the mother of 2 school-age children. Fans embraced the image of Raquel as a mother, but industry insiders were unsure about her new husband, a man who was said to have a Svengali-like hold over his beautiful wife.
The misperception is out there that Raquel is a product of publicity or one of her husbands and so on. This is simply not the case. This is a person who has formed herself in the image of the high glamour queens of the great studio era in Hollywood. They had come to an end by the time Raquel arrived in Hollywood and had to fight for herself.
Patrick Curtis talks about how he created Raquel. And, damn near anybody with a penny's worth of an IQ could have created Raquel. You would only have to shove her out on the stage, and she's created.
By the late 1960s, the sexual revolution had opened up a whole new area of no-holds-barred commercialism, and Hollywood had just the right merchandise to exploit.
This is the shape of a girl called Fathom. You like the layout? Feast your eyes on Fathom. Raquel, 39, 22, 33, Welch. When she slips on her bikini, clips on her grenade earrings, and sets out in search of adventure, things really happen.
Increasingly frustrated by the one-dimensional role she was being offered, in 1967, Raquel began turning down parts, like the troubled starlet in Fox's upcoming production of Valley of the Dolls. Her plan backfired when Fox placed her on suspension, but the time off gave Raquel an opportunity to do something more personally fulfilling. It had been 3 long years since American intervention in Vietnam. Tensions were high as anti-war protesters demonstrated in the streets, and the war showed no sign of slowing down. In 1967, Raquel joined Bob Hope's USO tour of Vietnam, to the delight of the homesick troops.
They're basically kids. You know, they were drafted, some of them joined, and now it's Christmas time and they're over there. And I don't think that's, to me, that's not political. And I was very glad I did it. It was one of the best things I think I ever did.
Hey, Bobby, here's how you make me feel. You're
an older smoothie, sneaky old Frankie. You are a tribute to the magic of Medicare. You're an older smoothie, crafty old bounder. You're such a challenge to the likes of a girl like me.
Shall we?
Love to.
So
you make me feel so.
Clearly, Raquel was too hot a commodity to waste. Fox began offering the actress A-list films opposite some of Hollywood's biggest leading men, like Jimmy Stewart and Dean Martin in Bandolero. And in 1968, she played opposite show business legend Frank Sinatra in Lady in Cement.
Well, shall I scream rape now or wait and phone in a complaint?
If you're asking me, I'd rather you press charges. I figure you got a deal, and you want to bargain for something I want.
And you don't want it?
When I want it, I don't want to trade for it.
But while Raquel's films were not critical successes, fans couldn't get enough of her, and her popularity made her one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. In 1969, Raquel was cast as a fiery guerrilla leader in 100 Rifles, co-starring Burt Reynolds and former football great Jim Brown. Raquel did not shy away from controversial subject matter. She had no objections to the interracial love scenes with Brown, but when she was asked to play a nude shower scene, the actress adamantly refused.
People would tell me it's art and then it's, this and that and the other thing, and you're an actress. But it annoyed me because I think they cared less about the script, less about the development of the characters and all of the things that were about the movie than if they could just get Rocky to be nude. They felt like they could sell something.
When it came time to shoot the scene in which her character had to distract a trainload of soldiers, Raquel showered in an oversized shirt.
I would have been distracted if I was a soldier. It was very, very sexy, and she didn't take anything off.
No demasiado cerca.
By 1970, Raquel Welch had made over a dozen films, but she still felt trapped in her sex symbol image. Now 29, the actress was anxious to prove that she had genuine talent to adoring fans and jaded critics once and for all. In 1970, 29-year-old Raquel Welch had high hopes when she was cast in the controversial film Myra Breckinridge, a savage parody of Hollywood based on Gore Vidal's best-selling novel.
The book that couldn't be written is now the motion picture that couldn't be made. Myra Breckinridge.
Raquel took on the risky role of a transsexual out to conquer Hollywood.
Myra Breckinridge is a dish. And don't you ever forget it.
The film starred Rex Reed, John Huston, and the legendary Mae West.
I'll be right with you, boys. Get your resumes out.
Mae West was 72 years old at the time. I had an audience arranged for me in her apartment. I kneel practically at her feet and I say, "Oh, Miss West, it's so great to meet you. You're a living legend and I've read all about you." And she said, "Oh, yeah. Well, what did you say your name was?"
Soon the tension between the two sex symbols became as notorious as the film itself.
Mae West immediately said, "Oh,
she's a sweet little thing, you know, but no real woman would play this part. Well, it was war from that minute on.
Sit down, honey. You sound like a good agent.
You see, Miss Van Allen, Uncle Buck and I deal in myths, and movie stars are like gods and goddesses. When one fades, another promptly takes its place, because the human race requires that the pantheon always be filled. And you and I must seek out the glittering few that are the new stars of our race, reborn.
That is the damnedest thing I ever heard.
Although some praised Myra Breckinridge for being ahead of its time, it was a critical and box office disaster, and Welch was devastated by the backlash. Eager to try a new direction, Raquel and her husband decided to produce her next film, Annie Calder. As a rape victim turned gunslinger, Raquel modeled her character after a Clint Eastwood-style Western hero.
Can I put my pants on?
You're not gonna need them for long.
Raquel Welch's Annie Calder. Annie Calder, a name you won't forget.
But to the couple's dismay, Annie Calder did not bring Raquel the recognition they had hoped for.
People just wanted her to do what had paid off before and just keep doing it until it became a caricature of itself.
She was too smart for the image that people had created for her, which was being used to sell her. She knew as she grew into the movies that she could do a lot more than she was being asked to do.
I filled a certain niche better than anyone else at that moment, and that was the job that I was given. So I thought, okay, fine, I'm happy. I'll do Sparkle Plenty, I'll do whatever, sex goddess, crapola, whatever, but just give me something to do that's good in that genre.
By now, 31-year-old Raquel was chafing at more than the confines of her career. She was growing increasingly frustrated with her marriage to Patrick.
After we got married, I felt that there was a sense of ownership that he had of me, and it seemed like he was trying to push me in a direction that I didn't want to go. And also, I was spending a lot of time on the set, and we were growing apart.
In 1972, the couple's 5-year union ended in divorce. Later that year, Raquel found a project that had been literally left on her doorstep by an aspiring screenwriter. Entitled Kansas City Bomber, it was a realistic drama about women's professional roller derby, and offered the actress a role where her sexuality would not compromise the integrity of her character.
I thought that it would be a way to change my image. I was playing a mother, and I was playing somebody who had struggled, you know, against a lot of adversity.
Raquel snapped up the rights to the material. As the film's producer, she immersed herself in every aspect of production, and as the star, she rigorously trained for the grueling skating sequences.
She trained with several of the roller derby queens at the time. She would go out and train at the high-banked rinks for 2 or 3 months, and she actually did break her arm during the training.
Audiences cheered Raquel's strong, convincing performance, as did the critics, and she received glowing reviews. Although Raquel was a bona fide superstar, she didn't go without criticism. Her fiercely independent spirit and strong opinions on everything from costumes to story structure branded her with the most unpopular epithet in Hollywood: difficult.
She simply fought for herself and for the integrity of her own image right from the start. I think that she is quite right when she says that an actress like Meryl Streep, when she fights on the set, it's creative differences. But when a sex symbol fights for herself, she's dismissed as somehow being irrational.
There is something that happens when you're called a sex symbol. Everybody just treats you differently. They just don't treat you like an actress, and they don't treat you like a person.
In 1972, after starring opposite Richard Burton in Bluebeard, Raquel now had the opportunity to do something she had always wanted to do: entertain before a live audience. Once again, wearing the hat of both producer and performer, Raquel launched a one-woman show in Las Vegas. the singing, dancing, show-stopping superstar spoofed her own career as a sex symbol. That same year, a delighted Raquel was cast in the comedic screen version of Alexander Dumas' classic The Three Musketeers.
En garde for The Three Musketeers.
The lavish production was directed by Richard Lester, famous for his zany British comedies, and boasted such high-caliber stars as Oliver Reed, Richard Chamberlain, Faye Dunaway, and Michael York.
I will find a messenger, Majesty. A trusted one, I swear it. He can carry a letter from you to Lord Buckingham.
Yes. Yes, a letter. I shall write. It's for my honor. And for my life. You have someone you can trust with that?
Majesty, he will not. Oh!
But some of Raquel's co-stars were initially wary of working with her.
Just before Raquel arrived on the set, this rather depressing document was issued. There would be no references to her anatomical endowments. And so we were all a bit low and a bit kind of hostile. But as the very first shot was her being knocked over backwards, she did it like a trooper, and it was like a baptism. We were on. She was one of us immediately. The whole film was a joy to make.
Raquel's whimsical performance as the accident-prone Constance so impressed critics that she was honored with a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress.
And the winner is Raquel Welch. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. I'm awful happy. I guess you can see that. There are a lot of people, for really good reasons, who kind of don't like to take awards because, well, that's for them. But I've been waiting for this one since 1 million years BC.
Now, more secure about her career, Raquel felt it was time to turn her energies outward. She lobbied for the American Cancer Society as National Crusade Chairman. She met with President Ford at the White House and used her celebrity status to raise funds.
It's part of giving back, and the fact that you can do something good just by being who you are is a great thing.
Raquel Welch had proven herself a versatile and accomplished actress, but at 35, she knew she'd have to keep fighting to stay on top. In 1976, Raquel was cast in the irreverent comedy Mother, Jugs, and Speed.
Be on the lookout for Bill Cosby, Raquel Welch, and Harvey Keitel in Mother, Jugs, and Speed.
I didn't want to do it because of the title. And then I thought, oh, get a sense of humor, Rocky. This image that follows you around, this preoccupation with the body and the bosoms and all this, you just acknowledge it. And then, it may serve to get rid of it. Instead of them making a joke on you, you make a joke on the whole thing.
Raquel Welch is Jugs.
Stop calling me Jugs.
A girl with tremendous ambitions.
I'll try to be as careful as I can.
Oh, please. She has a great sense of the ridiculous, and her sense of humor is enormous. This is an aspect of Raquel's career that she has never received full credit for, that she is a great satirist.
The following year, while in Europe filming L'Animal, opposite Jean-Paul Belmondo, Raquel fell in love with French screenwriter André Weinfeld. After a 3-year courtship, the two were wed on July 5th, 1980.
They really loved each other, and they really helped each other in their careers. He supported her in her being her, letting her not be as serious as she had been.
Together, the newlyweds produced an ABC network television special, From Raquel with Love, a lighthearted Valentine to New York City and the American musical theater.
What's not to be happy about, but it's good to be here. Here is just where I belong. It's my considered opinion that the place to be is the place I'm at, and I couldn't be more sincere. cheap, but it's good to be swell, to be great, to be cheap, but it's good to be here, right here.
In December of 1980, 39-year-old Raquel Welch reported to MGM to play the lead role in their much-anticipated adaptation of John Steinbeck's Cannery Row. Eager to take her career to a new level, the actress had accepted a cut in pay and agreed for the first time ever to do a nude scene. But only 3 weeks into the shoot, Raquel was abruptly fired. MGM charged she was not living up to her contract by refusing early morning rehearsals and insisting on doing her own hair and makeup. Adding insult to injury, 25-year-old Deborah Winger was signed on as her replacement.
They had really put me in the movie to get the financing because I had a big name, and it was an international name. They could get instant banking for their movie. It satisfied the stockholders, and now they could dump me because apparently they really never wanted me to begin with. And they basically brought my film career to a screeching halt. And it was numbing. It was just numbing.
At her lawyer's urging, Raquel took a stand in her own defense and sued MGM for $24 million. But as Raquel's Cannery Row lawsuit languished in the Los Angeles courts, film offers ceased to come her way. It was nearly 2 years before reprieve came in the form of an unexpected offer to replace Lauren Bacall in the hit Broadway musical Woman of the Year.
I walked into rehearsal, I had the best time of my life, and it gave me the legitimacy that I've been searching for so many years.
She's arrived on Broadway. Raquel Welch is the Woman of the Year.
I love it.
Raquel Welch made the part her own, and once skeptical critics responded with unanimous praise. Ticket sales soared, and Raquel was besieged by enthusiastic fans outside the theater each night.
I think it was a very warm, happy time for her because she was being received by the public. She was working with people that were authentic, that really appreciated her.
But Raquel was deeply disappointed when her critical and box office success failed to reignite her film career. The harm from the Cannery Row lawsuit was still being felt as Hollywood power brokers continued to turn a cold shoulder. Raquel found another outlet for her creative energy when, in 1984, at the height of the fitness craze, she was asked to author a book on health and beauty. Steering away from the standard aerobic exercises, Raquel Welch's Total Beauty and Fitness program was based on her longtime devotion to yoga and nutrition.
Inspiration.
The book and companion videotape became bestsellers. Raquel followed up with 3 more popular videos, ensuring her place in the field of health and beauty.
I discovered yoga when I was about 35 years old, and it was like a panacea for me. It brought me through all of these different highs and lows and these strange trips that I took in my career.
In 1986, Raquel was relieved when her Cannery Row lawsuit was finally brought to trial, 5.5 years after the initial filing.
I was brought in as an expert witness, and I gave it as my opinion that she had been misused. She was being charged with having been difficult, impossible to work with, costing the production money, and a lot of stuff that was just nonsense. It was clearly nonsense.
Raquel emerged victorious. MGM was found guilty of conspiracy, and she was awarded $11.8 million. Remaining true to her convictions had served her well, both personally and professionally. And it was clear that 45-year-old Raquel Welch was a force to be reckoned with. Throughout the me decade of the 1980s, a time notorious for overconsumption and overindulgence, Raquel Welch continued to be a role model for natural glowing health and sensuality for women of all ages.
She was the single woman that I most wanted to have in the magazine. She seems to be ageless. Good genes, health food, I'm not sure what it is, but it's magic.
But in 1987, Raquel stripped herself of her glamorous image to take a dramatic part on television. She movingly portrayed a woman with Lou Gehrig's disease in Right to Die.
I snapped it up because it was a serious role, and it was a no makeup kind of downtrodden role, so it was a change of image.
You're not a man. You're a nurse's aide, doing your duty. And everyone thinks how noble. Avoiding my lips, dutifully wash my body, but never touch me. Dutifully put me to bed, but never get in it.
What do you expect?
I expect you to be my husband.
Once again, Raquel received a Golden Globe nomination for her performance. But her success was bittersweet. In 1989, she suffered a personal blow when her 9-year marriage to Andre Weinfeld ended. Over the next decade, Raquel joined a host of Hollywood's biggest stars and made the move to television, appearing in such popular shows as Spin City and Central Park West, as well as playing leading roles in dramas like Torch Song, opposite Alicia Silverstone and Jack Scalia.
You look beautiful.
Thanks. You look pretty fabulous yourself.
Yeah, I bet you say that to all the guys. Let me have a look at you. Come here.
Wait, let me take your picture. Now say holy matrimony. Just kidding. Smile.
In June of 1997, the versatile actress returned to Broadway to take over for Julie Andrews in the hit musical Victor Victoria.
She's kept her love relationship going with her public by always coming back with some new little gizmo, a new little twist, a new little aspect of Raquel that we didn't see before.
But the problem-plagued production of Victor Victoria was a disappointment, both personally and professionally, and the show closed within a year. Throughout the ups and downs of her career, Raquel has found strength and stability with her family. Now in her 50s, she enjoys a close relationship with her actress daughter Tani and her son Damon. And in 1998, 57-year-old Raquel announced her engagement to steady beau 44-year-old Richard Palmer, a prominent Los Angeles restaurateur.
Richie is, he's just, quite simply, for me, the perfect man. He is also a really good soul. He's not at all distracted by the, the facade or anything. He fell in love with the Raquel who was evolved and not the Raquel who had a million complexes about being a sex symbol. He saw me.
From sex goddess to award-winning actress, Raquel Welch has emerged as not just an icon of her time, but as an enduring legend.
The whole body of work, I think, is an accomplishment. I'm still keeping my tools sharp. I know that great things are going to happen, and it's going to fill in that last chapter.
She's continually had an independent attitude that caused some problems for her in Hollywood, but she's managed to keep her career alive. She had to do it on her own, and she did do it on her own.
I know that she's been controversial, and that's what makes her more interesting. There's something to her. There's a real kind of personality. But over and above everything, she's given pleasure and entertainment, which is all that one can ask for. She's a very smart person and a loving mother that takes a genuine interest in the world around her. My mom really enjoys life.
It's the public that decides who is a major, major star and an icon, and they've decided that she is.